Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to Sharp Edge News TV. Welcome, welcome. Do us a favor, please. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications as you are coming into the show. We've got a few stories to cover today. It's going to be another enlightening edition of Sharp Edge News TV. We're going to be talking about stories about, of course, VeryDarkMan. We're going to talk about Trump, Harris. We're going to talk about Dangote, Ngozi, Okojie-Iweala, Tijani, Bosun, a few other people. We have some updates that I want to bring to you, even from the United Nations sidelines over the last 1 week or so. So without any further ado, let's just do the needful. My very special person, the most underrated journalist out of Nigeria of all times, in my opinion, my personal person, my uncle, the High Chief, the Chief of everybody, High Chief Oladimeji Abitogun. Welcome, sir.
Good to be back, Ola. Thanks for always doing justice, making sure that we come back every week, relying more on providence than our personal abilities to get this done. And to the very many fans that we have out there is no better way to show appreciation that you are so consistent. Remember, this weekly tonic, something you cannot do without. Align us, whether by way of invasion or permission, to be part of your private life, particularly invading the privacy of your homes this hallowed hour. We are so immensely grateful. Thanks for being with us again.
Absolutely.
And particularly to Nigerians out there, today marks the 64th independence anniversary of the country. To Nigeria as a nation, happy independence anniversary. And to the leaders who continue to do all kinds, whether in an encouraging or discouraging manner. All we can wish for is that we should make better deals with the citizens and the nation. Again, good to be back.
Welcome back. Welcome back. All right. Without any further ado, we just want to go ahead and dive into today's special. Do you have any special reports from the SharpEdgeNews.com today for us?
Oh yeah, potpourri, different things that we have pieced together. Particularly, you have heard that today the Minister of Interior in Nigeria, Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, has eventually instituted a probe into the circumstances and allegations of bribery leveled against the leadership, particularly the Comptroller General of Nigerian Correctional Service, Mr. Aliru Nababa. Aliru Nababa is the person that was personally mentioned in the leaked telephone conversation by Bob Risky with whoever was the creditor, the person whom he was owing some money, and because of the justifications he was trying to advance for not paying that debt in time, since led to unintended consequences. So Aliru Nababa is still in office, and Bosun, Bumi Tunji-Ojo, the Minister of Interior, is being celebrated as the whiskey of new governance and good governance, great deal, immigration, and what have you in Nigeria. Not so fast. I do not think that they can be picking or cherry picking on the people to be sanctioned or to be investigated or to be probed concerning these weighty allegations. On the one hand, you have Ali Runababa, you have the duo of senior advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, and the son, the rapper lawyer, and other people, even at EFCC, the allegation of collecting 15 million naira to drop charges of money laundering against Bobrisky. So all these things are wrapped together, and we begin to wonder. They said they have instituted an internal probe led by the Permanent Secretary Ministry of Interior in Nigeria. SharpEdgeNews.com was the first to get across to the spokesperson of Nigeria Correctional Service. We left messages on the phone of the minister, Bumi Tunji Ojo. But what we understand is that it would also be improper for the Correctional Service to issue a statement at this time, since the parent ministry has instituted a probe. But why say that 5 correctional officers in charge of facilities in Lagos and elsewhere should go on administrative leave, or maybe they are suspended? What is happening to Ali Runababa? So we don't want to give too much details because we are still going to delve into the details of this story. But the deal is that Ali Runababa has been fingered in so many deals. Today, the sponsored excitement is to start executing prisoners on death row in Nigeria by way of distraction. Bloodshed is what they want to use to celebrate 64th anniversary of Nigeria's independence, instead of focusing on the real crooks within the system, who themselves should be prepared for the guillotine and or the gallows, and probably given, if given death sentence or penalty. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. I do not support death penalty in any way because of the weaknesses in the criminal justice administration system. So we leave this in the balance, but we also say that Ali Nababa, even if not asked to go on administrative leave or suspension, should recuse himself at this moment so that we can know the level of his complicity, if at all he was involved or somebody was just trying to savage him. That is the little we can say at this moment. Again, we find out at SharpEdgeNews.com that it is not all the time that we can accuse the Nigerian government of not doing so much or doing anything at all. For example, back in Ibadan, SCDA, the new offshoot of Akure North local government that was created by the late Arakuni Oluwarotimi Odunayo Akeredolu, the then governor of Ondo State. A legacy that has been embraced by the lucky Orimisun Ayedatiwa administration. Very early in the life of this new SCDA leadership, they found out that a total sum of 700,000 naira was appropriated and was sent to Ayede Ogbese for the maintenance of the public toilet there. That money was hijacked by a cult of politicians, a group of politicians who have always celebrated kleptomania, public stealing as an act. And anybody that comes into the community, whether you are a high chief, a chief, investigative journalist, they want to paint you as if you are the enemy of the community. These people are being smoked out. We understand that there have been a hearing amongst the people, stakeholders in politics in the community last Saturday. They didn't get anywhere. So personally now, the governor and everybody in the state seems to be thinking of coming to Ayede Ogbese on Friday. And the notoriety of the people and the brazen attitude, the impunity with which these people continue to violate ethos and values in communities in the name of politics and political patronage cause for concern. That said, and these people, they always have a way of lying. For example, when through associates and leading of the Lord, let me put that as a man of faith, I was able to get the administration of Olarotimi Odun Yakedolu to do reticulated industrial borehole. And I mean, with more than 200 points through which people could get water in Aedogbese community. I cannot even claim that I brought that project to Aedogbese, but yeah, that is the way things were. And when the governor came to commission it, he brought with him the Minister of Water Resources from Abuja, Engineer Suleiman then. And they flagged off a campaign against open defecation in Nigeria. Today, all these opportunistic politicians, because of envy and living in denial, they say, oh, they brought it to Ayedo. They said the thing was slated for another community, they influenced it. That's not their story, it's my story. And because of that, I know that you don't even have to be a senator, councillor, or anybody to be able to want to do good for your community. This is what we have done in the circumstance. Our special report, people like this should refrain from trying to benefit from what they did not contribute anything to. All those times it's been castigation, and now they want to steal the glory. What a shame. Our report. And I yield for you, Ola. Let's hear things about what happened at the sidelines of United Nations.
Absolutely.
You were there. You were there.
Thank you for the special report. Again, do us a favor, hit the like button, share, subscribe. Yes, we're still going to be talking about VeryDarkMan. We're going to go a little bit deeper into that story, plus some other things that's happening, that's trending around the world. We'll be right back. All right, so I was in New York City over the last week or so during the United Nations General Assembly. There were some sidelines events I was opportune to attend. Here are some clips from some of the events. The video I'm about to play is a little bit of clip from a Minister of Digital Economy in Nigeria. His name is Bosun Tijani.
Bosun Tijani. Yes.
Bosun Tijani. He has some things to say about the name of the event was the Next 3 Billion, and it was about connecting the next 3 billion people, particularly in Africa. So there was Bosun Tijani. I'm going to play a clip from that. There was Dr. Akiwumi Adeshina. I'm going to play a clip from that. There's also...
and by the way, before you launch into that in a very big way, sure. Let me commend your 7-hour marathon broadcast on our sister handle, Man of Prestige, highlighting and debating and projecting and making sure that all sides to the United Nations General Assembly event were given copious coverage. Kudos to you. Yeah, go for it.
Yep. All right, so right now I'm going to play Bosun Tijani. Here's what he had to say.
We are rebuilding the future of humanity, literally with AI. And there's no future where certain part of the world is left behind, where certain part of the world is not part of that development. So we may end up with massive divide in society because AI is being built from just the perspective of the global north. That's why we have to prioritize the collection of data set. We can't leave it to ChatGPT to ensure that their models are inclusive, because the reality is ChatGPT is not going to come to Nigeria to help us, or anywhere in Africa, to help us digitize our reality. Yeah. The bulk of our reality is still dark, is unconnected, is not being used to train a lot of these models. We have to accelerate it. We know artificial intelligence is good for humanity, but it's also dangerous if it's not inclusive. and we have to take responsibility for it.
And that's one of your big initiatives.
That was a very particular highlight for me when he mentioned that, because at the point of this this program was already 6 hours in when he was saying this, and there was a lot of celebration of the AI and the different technologies and innovation that's coming to Africa. But I thought it was very important to highlight what he just mentioned here, which is the fact that it needs to be all inclusive in terms of the data set that creates what we know today as the usefulness of AI. I'm going to play a little bit more of what he said, because there's some more things to it.
In Nigeria is taking the country's data and making it accessible, right? And that's been a big problem with these data silos. I'd be interested in AV's view, or maybe there's a back and forth here on like, what are the dangers in doing that? Like, what do you need to look out for as you sort of prepare this data for these massive large language models?
Yeah, well, I think as Dr. Tijani has already articulated, it's important to have that.
Oh, just to be respectful to him, he's Dr. Tijani. So I'm going to go ahead and play.
It's Dr. Bosun Tijani. He had the doctorate.
Right. So I'm going to go ahead and play what Dr. Akinwumi Additional had to say about it. Let's listen in.
Remember, it's an honor to be asked to serve my own continent. I'm proud of what we've actually done. I think our work over the last 7-8 years has impacted more than 400 million people. And that's what it really matters: water, sanitation, energy. Myself and President Ajay Banga, President of the World Bank. When Ajay was nominated to become President of the World Bank, the first place in the world he came to was me. He came to Abidjan. When I sat down with Ajay Banga, I said, Ajay, 3 things I'm going to ask you. First, Africa must have universal access to electricity, period. 2, we must feed ourselves. 3rd, we must have jobs for our young people. And I'm delighted to let you know that today, at the spring meeting, Ajay Banga and I announced what's called Mission 300.
All right. So there was a lot of conversations around infrastructure, making sure that infrastructure. And obviously, he's also mentioned the real stomach infrastructure. If people are hungry and they're dealing with their daily livelihood, there's going to be a problem with any of this kind of stuff. And majority of them cannot even be connected to it, which means they're not inclusive. The next one I'm going to play here is a clip of the Dr. Ngozi
Okojie-Iweala.
Yeah, she's a Nigerian economist, presently the Director General.
Director General World Trade Organization, WTO.
Yes. So she's 70 now. Interesting. So I'm going to play a small clip. She received the most standing ovation at this particular event, and it was quite interesting to watch. Even though there was a president of don't tell me I forgot. President, there's a country in the East Africa. The president was in the room, but this lady received the most standing ovation that day, with an extended, noise from every corner of that room. But I'm going to play her right now, and then we'll talk about it. This is what she had to say.
It's going to make it very costly. We've actually done some work at the WTO that shows that if the way we manage data flows in the world, because digital trade is also about not only flow of goods, but data. If we manage it in a fragmented fashion, each having its own way, or blocks of countries having their own way, and not a holistic approach, it could lead to almost a 1% loss in global GDP in the longer term. And it would be bigger losses for developing countries. So you're absolutely right that we need to find a cooperative approach forward.
And just to take
so again, the inclusive thing is coming to play a lot. This is the theme that I'm noticing a lot. Even though these are good news of some of the developments in Africa thus far. The next one that I want to play here, even though it was supposed to be at the event, he wasn't at the event. But then this particular video was going viral because it was featured at I think it was Bloomberg. And he had something to say about the removal of the subsidy, which is the main point that I want us to touch on in this particular segment.
And the Dangote connection.
Yes. So we're talking about nobody else other than the Nigerian billionaire Dangote. And I'm going to play that video shortly, and then we can get into some conversations. Let's go for it.
Do you think it's the right time to get rid of the subsidies?
I think it is, because all countries have actually gotten rid of subsidies. Let me give you an example. Saudi Arabia used to give what Saudis, the citizens, believe that, look, oil is our own God-given gift. So the government shouldn't charge us for it. So government were selling it at a very low price. But today, as we speak, gasoline is about 40% cheaper in Nigeria than in Saudi Arabia, which I think it doesn't make sense. That is one. Number two, our price of gasoline is about 60% of the price of our neighboring countries. And we have very porous borders. So it is not sustainable. The amount of...
All right. With that being said, let's get into it. I want to hear your thoughts on what you've heard.
Well, yeah, number one, they all spoke from a latest point of view, and then they tried to play the fake card of championing this card of inclusivity or game of inclusion, so that no segment of the society is left behind. That is not true. It's just lip service from this fortunate and opportune class. They do not really know the essence of the trouble, the extent of the trouble on the African continent. For example, if they are saying, electricity should be basically made available everywhere in Africa, have they thought of the question of security and insecurity on the continent? Making sure that sustainable energy is all over the place, not just by way of what's it called, grids that are nationwide or linked internationally on the continent. How about the vandals that are ever ready to plunder all these things? You are even trying to conscientize them. They look at it as low-level crime on the African continent, but it's even worse than that. And then cross-border crossings that makes it so precarious and dangerous to move from one country to the other on the African continent. Those basics need to be addressed and pinned down in a way that if they are not radically reduced to the barest minimum, at least some appreciable progress should be made in that wise. Now, Mr. Dangote has is been celebrated as somebody who is gone where no one else has dared on the continent. Are you listening?
Absolutely, I'm listening.
Right.
Yep.
But turning himself to marketer-in-chief for subsidy removal is going to do a lot of damage to his brand and his name. He needs to refrain from, and I'm not trying to make him become timid. He has the money. What do I have? Brain and ability to put my message across. But the point I'm making is that, yes, it is not totally true. When you see, it's almost an insult when it comes out like this and makes it look like, because what's it called? Being able to buy petroleum products in Saudi Arabia could be expensive, and that vis-a-vis what? What is the strength of the local currency in Saudi Arabia? But beyond that, what do we know from our neighbors who come all the time from Saudi Arabia to pursue studies in America here? Does it know that the average medical student from Saudi Arabia, when they come to America or go to Europe to study or wherever they find themselves in the world, the average medical student gets around $7,000 in terms of bursary award from the government of Saudi Arabia. Any other grade of student, some, they don't get less than $3,000. Where does the Nigerian government come in for anybody like that? So he's saying subsidy must go. If there is no subsidy directly on petroleum products in Saudi Arabia, there are other areas in terms of social services, health, and whatever, where they enjoy subsidies. In Nigeria, it is not like that. Apart from the fact that oil products are so, because everybody places an emphasis on PMS, petrol. But I'm looking at all the products coming, the range of products coming from crude oil itself. So the chain value, they are just stretching their instinctual stuff on profit making and price gouging. They are stretching it beyond what is reasonable, beyond what the society or the masses there can tolerate. So this is why I said Mr. Dangote should not, should stop and should not stretch his luck too far, marketing what is not reasonable. We know that at the bottom of everything they are doing is insensitivity, and that that knack for the African leader to really care whether the poor is dying or not, so long they have their bellies filled. Now, quickly to to Dr. Okojie-Iweala.
Yes.
Honestly, you have seen her one-on-one. You've been able to operate with her. The few times I've been able to be around her and to speak with her, what do I see? This is an accomplished woman, world-class scholar, but also economist, whether at the level of World Bank, IMF, now World Trade Organization. She does not play second fiddle to anybody. And for me, I'm always quick, back at home in my village, to tell people, as a girl child, you don't want anybody messing you up or messing with your destiny. I tell my daughter that in the house. And what am I saying? Okojie-Iweala is not just able to connect with what Africans really need, what the actual needs of women all over the world are. She operates at the level that suits everybody. You don't see her coming back to Iseluku or Omera in Delta State, trying to push her attitude on the face of everybody. She waits and attends to people as a true princess. You know, the father, a professor, she comes from well-educated home and from the royalty, from real African royalty. And you don't see her throwing her weight around. She is just somebody I would love to have as a big sister, as a mother, as a daughter, as everything. You know, wherever you see her, that humility is always there. That is why you would see everybody getting on the feet for her in any hall, celebrating her genuine attainment and achievement. That's about Okojie-Iweala. Now, Dr. Bosun Tijani, we have to come back to the digital economy of a thing and communications stuff.
Yes.
Until people begin to look at access to all these facilities as a human rights stuff, as something that, yes, and then we look at the underpinnings. How much can we open to the world? How much can the world embrace through us? Beyond all these talks about artificial intelligence, I also want him to be in the forefront of making sure that the government in Nigeria and elsewhere in Africa should stop cannibalizing and penalizing access to digital facilities and phones and mobile telephony and what have you, the internet in the information superhighway age or time that we live in. The whole space is already democratized. People can own and express their own opinion as a real way of being a true citizen, not just of the world, but of any community. But what, all these things are being said. The world that is pioneering, that is championing the development, the invention of these things, they also still know how to keep their security stuff, and they know how to go after those who would use it to want to destroy the society. Look at the way Nigeria has found it so intractable. After the game of everyone's intelligence on what a BVN would do, a bank verification number, what what's it called, national identification number would do, driver's license and all that. Yet they are not able to link and track idiots who have held the country by the jugular, perpetuating banditry, terrorism, and what have you. Look at the stuff coming from Israel in the last few days, the way they have been able to deal with, what's it called, the Hezbollah thing in the southern Lebanon, the way they are able to intercept shipments coming from far east, somewhere in Taiwan or wherever, and then embedded in those facilities meant for the Hezbollah terror organization, planting chips in there, and everybody trying to use a pager or mobile telephone in that terrorist network, getting blown, getting burnt, and all that. Why can too much, Dr. Bosun Tijani? Why is he not giving a viewpoint on this to the Nigerian security community and the government to make sure that this becomes real, a real and a timely equipment through which terrorism and other illicit crime
that
becomes real
with the intelligence, because his own role is digital economy. It's about digital economy. Does he have? I know he has a role, but he can be invited.
Yeah, they don't cancel. They do not cancel each other out. Remember, we are not even the ones trusting this on them. They were the ones who outed themselves, saying, "This is what BVN would do. This is what NIN would do. This is what voters card would do. This is what all kinds of stuff would do." Developing huge database, even linking it with the Nigerian international travel passport. What we're saying is that this must become real in how we keep Nigerian lives and property safe. That is one area he must look into. After all, in that same country, somebody that was suspected of terrorism financing, his predecessor in office was given the honor of becoming the minister in charge of that stuff. But this is somebody that was known to have actively campaigned for extreme Islamic agenda that would not even hesitate to see people being killed. Was trusted with all that, and then we are looking for compromises and the gaps in the way these people should, ensure deliverables on security and intelligence estimates. So this is the point we're making, that it must translate to reality for citizens instead of just using it to trail people who want to fund a peaceful protest and then begin to cannibalize and intimidate citizens all over the country. This is the point I'm making, sir.
So my question for you is that because this ministry is communications, innovation, and digital economy, and it was there to speak about connecting the next 3 billion people in this respect, right? And he was there pushing against. He was basically pushing against. It wasn't pushing against, but it was saying there's some things that need to happen before we go too wild with AI. You know, because the rest of the world is talking about AI, and every conversation is laced with AI. He's actually pushing against that, saying there are some things that must be done before we can. And then he also talked about, as part of that, he talked about what kind of data sets are being used to train these models. You know,
well,
is it Western information that will not understand our culture and our ways of life? So that's what he's speaking to. Now, that can, of course, by extension, affect how intelligence, security, and things like that can be more effective.
Now, let me tell you what ordinary citizens have done concerning the issues he raised. Remember our cousin, Lekon Fabilola, he came up with certain software at the time. This is somebody that was trained by Covenant University in Ota, Ogun State. Now, he came up with software that could, Yoruba language is highly tonal. He came up with a software that could deliver the the tonal marks, accents on, yes, do, re, mi kind of thing.
Yeah.
He made an offer on this to the government of Osun State at the time. And I think that was the basis, that was the predicate for the Okojie-Iweala thing that they developed in that state. But people got inside that, they ran away with it. That is the Nigeria where they want this AI thing to interact with local knowledge. It is not hard to do. There are people that would put their money on the line, that would donate their intellect to get Nigeria somewhere, moving Nigeria from point A to destination B. There are people that are willing to do that. But do we have honest dealers in government and the superstructure of business in Nigeria that would not look at that upstart, that young innovator, and run away with the idea and not give them the benefit of the rewards that should accrue ordinarily from that? That said, look at the way the average Japanese, the average Mandarin speaker in China, the average South Korean, and elsewhere, you don't find what happens in Africa that we cannot be painstaking. Every time I ask, what has been the essence, the contribution of the universities that proliferate every day in Nigeria, including government-funded ones and privately owned ones? What has been their essence? Just almost existing completely detached from the needs of the larger society, the immediate society that they should serve. Every community, when you were at New Jersey Tech, you saw where that your university was located, right in the middle of urban something. In Nigeria, they develop universities as if they are leprosorium, like as if they are like leper colonies.
Right, yeah.
Yes, they are completely. When they want to, thank God, is improving. Things are improving, but you see university students behaving as if they are superior to anybody in the society.
Could that be because they are foreseeing the future that all those areas will be developed and they will become the center of town someday?
No, that is not the essence. It's just because they feel like they are special. They should be isolated. Yes, you need serenity and you need scenic environment where you can have some peace to get intellectual productivity. But the point we're making is that universities and tertiary institutions, any educational institution for that matter, should see itself as existing for the good of the community and the public, period. You want to begin to win stuff as if you are superior to people, as if you are a special class, something that is fundamentally at the basis of destruction of public education, health facilities in Nigeria, and now this digital economy that we're talking about, communication. It has to be domesticated, made ordinary. That language thing that they want to code, whether in Igbo, Hausa, Efik, what have you, all those things can be properly integrated, and even in the course of doing that, critical data that would safeguard the core of the existence of the nation should not be mortgaged. This is the point I'm making.
I see. All right. Thank you so much for that. I think it's a big conversation. There was a lot. I took a lot of notes, but there's only so much time that we have to.
Oh, thank you very much. And again, let me commend you. I mean, welcome back.
Yeah. So, but it was an interesting conversation because I know how systems are built. Let me quote Dr. Akinshino. Infrastructure is basically the backbone of anybody. If you don't have those things properly in place, which in my opinion includes the well-being of the common man, the citizen. If you don't have those kind of things in place, you can be connecting them all you want. They're not going to have access to a viable, useful phone or device.
Yeah.
to even see whatever you're putting on there. I have some, like in my other practice where we're teaching life, relationship, and coach. Life, relationship, and marriage. One of the challenges I've noticed personally is speaking too much English when it comes to our way of life and our way of doing marriage. A lot of times when I'm start to speak certain English, it goes way over the head of a common man, Nigerian man.
Ola,
yes.
not just through those social functions. I sat down at a time. I looked at the phenomenon of public speaking, responsible public speaking, especially the political type. And I looked at the highfalutin words strung together, English that was being spoken by people like Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, the late Chief Obafemi Awolowo, the Sardauna, all of them. The Sardauna particularly, and Akintola did better among the intellectuals and elites, of political elites of that age, in connecting with ordinary folks. Because they spoke the language of the people. Now, there were people that would just be saying isms, logi, and people will say, you know, this guy is not right.
In the grand scheme of things, it's useless.
It's useless. They're not connected.
It's like the difference we're about to talk about this guy right now in a second, Donald Trump. It's like the difference between the base and the voters. There's a drastic difference between the base that you're speaking to, that you're provoking their emotions, and the actual people that will make it to the ballot and vote. If you miss that, well, I think we've been missing that heavy.
And letting them know that this political operative who would enjoy my trust by way of my vote is not superhuman. Of course, he is just like me, but I am trusting him with this mandate. I'm trusting him that he will know what I'm going through and will be able to put some soothing ban to some extent, and then make sure that the nation enjoys real development.
Right. So what we're speaking to is basically, yes, technology, digital, all that stuff is nice, but context.
That's it. That is it. Which is why here, if it comes to breaking it down in everyday Ekiti and Akure, Egba, Ijebu, Owo, linguistic subset, the one they call dialect, or some people will say vernacular.
Dialect.
I don't know what they mean by vernacular. You know, if it gets to that,
that's our bouginess.
Yes, if it gets to that ijile, the cocoa, we will speak it the way the ordinary man will understand.
Yeah. Let me say this.
You know.
Let me say this last thing to this topic right here, right?
Right.
There is a disconnect between the man. You see, there's a massive gender war going on, and
that's right.
A lot of people are yielding towards the Western things or Western ways and speech and all that kind of thing. But of course, there's other people that are saying tiwa tiwa. The way we do things is the authentic, but it's not that what they're looking for, the ultimate end goal is different, but there's a disconnect because of difference in languages and what people.
Let me afford you an insight into a conversation I had with Mr. Tolu Adedayo, the veteran broadcaster from Ondo State, in Nigeria. You see, I was commending him 2 days ago about his unique flair, his unique take on the Yoruba language. I recalled my encounter with the late Arishekola Abdulaziz Alao in Ibadan, and how he was telling me that the kind of linguistic heritage I had, the Central Yoruba thing, that came just because the vast Yoruba nation at the time were under Ibadan, internal colonization. And I picked on him on that is rather sad. If that was the way he would look at the a way. I mean, he will look at my connection with what I felt at that time or before that time was our common patrimony, the Yoruba language, the central one. And then when I look at the Central Yoruba and the variant often spoken by Mr. Tolu Adedayo on Breeze FM, on Ijileodu, honestly, he speaks it with the flair, with the inflection, the tonal inflection of an Ekiti or Akure Ijesha person. That you will know that, okay, so there are variants. There are variants to this Yoruba linguistic heritage. It is not just one.
Yes.
For example, when you want to say Romileti, the Ekiti or Akure man will say Yemilere. It's still part of the family.
Yeah.
The same way you have Canadian English, you have British English, you have Nigerian English. The same way you have Akoko Yoruba, you have Ekiti Yoruba, Akure Yoruba, Eba Yoruba, Ijebu Yoruba, Ibadan Yoruba, Eko Yoruba. This is what we're saying. You don't make other people feel like they are subjects under you because of imposition from one part of otherwise you won't build a nation that way. Yeah. The beauty of a nation is celebrating its diversity.
Yeah. That's the strength of it all. Absolutely. Do us a favor, please hit the like button. We can continue this conversation forever, as you can see, but we want to move on to some other trendy stories around the world. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified whenever we go live. Shout out to all 14 of you watching us live. I can see you. Feel free to chat. Feel free to chime in on the conversation. We'll be right back. All right, so in a few weeks, we're going to be figuring out how the America is going to be moving forward. We are broadcasting from the United States of America, so we're covering the elections, and that's coming up in a few weeks between the former president, Donald Trump, and the present vice president, Kamala Harris. I'm going to play this video. There's been some interesting activities over the weekend led by the notorious very dark man said we shouldn't call him notorious, but anyway, by the notorious Donald Trump. Let's play this short video and we'll be back to talk about the polls.
Split screen as Election Day closes in. Former President Trump in the Rust Belt, Vice President Harris, the Sun Belt, rallying voters overnight in Nevada, where she called out the former president for saying he won't do another debate.
And as you say here in Las Vegas, I'm all in. I'm all in, even if my opponent is ready to fold.
Vice President Harris also slamming Mr. Trump for his role in killing that bipartisan immigration bill earlier this year and what she called fanning flames of division and fear.
Look, we need a president who cares more about solving problems than playing political games and demeaning people full time.
The vice president.
All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and I want to read something about the poll, and that's what I really want us to speak to right now. There's some interesting activities going on with the poll. It's still very tight, so it's still gonna be a showdown in my opinion. But I wanted to read this to you. There's a report here. I'm gonna read like the first paragraph of this report on CNN. It says early voting in North Carolina is facing hurdles as the impacts of Hurricane Helene continue to devastate communities in the Southeast, blocking roads and disrupting services across the state. So there's early voting going on already.
Yeah.
The start of the mailing, excuse me, hold on 1 second before, hold on. I had to sneeze. I didn't want to sneeze into the microphone. All right. So there's I know, right? There's early voting going on. The start of mail-in voting in the key state of North Carolina had already been delayed by courts. The ruled ballots must be reprinted reprinted without the option of Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who suspended his campaign and endorsed former President Donald Trump, even before the devastating hurricane. So here's a quote. While we do not know exactly what is ahead, our guiding force between now and election day will be to do everything possible to ensure every eligible North Carolina voter can cast their ballot. So that's that. Now there's a report on Fox, your favorite network. Fox.
What you mean? You've been sarcastic, right?
Yeah, I'm being sarcastic. Former President Trump has narrowed Vice President Kamala Harris' small lead in the battleground states of Michigan and Wisconsin. New polling by the New York Times, Siena College finds among likely voters in Michigan, Harris received 48% support, while Trump garnered 47%, locking the Democratic and Republican presidential nominees in an essential tie. Well within the poll's margin of error, Harris polled at 49% among likely voters in Wisconsin, while Trump received 47%. Okay, so this is just about closing in. Now, there's another report here that, let me see if I can find it quickly, that I found interesting. Let me see. Where is this thing go? Hey, I found it. It's on a very popular platform called TheGuardian.com. I think it's a UK publication. It says Harris stretches lead over Trump in what could be significant increase. While election almost certain to be decided by swing states, pollsters explain why growth in national polls is meaningful. Kamala Harris has stretched her lead over Donald Trump in the U.S. presidential election race. The latest polling averages show, even while the two candidates appear to be running neck and neck in most battleground states. The Guardian's newest poll tracker, based on a range of surveys conducted across a 10-day period, shows the vice president and Democratic nominee at 48.2% compared with 44.4% for Trump, the Republican candidate and former president, giving Harris a 3.8-point advantage. That's 1 point up from the lead she held a week ago, and broadly consistent with most, though not all, recent survey findings. Now, with all this being said, I want to hear your analysis, sir.
My analysis is going to be simple. They should keep doing what they have been doing and improve at it, instead of windsurfing and maybe wanting to launch into celebration in a premature way. No, this time demands that to have this real freedom, eternal vigilance must be our watchword. So what I'm suggesting, therefore, is that, yes, Fox has a way of trying to diminish the truth. Fox, because some people will not even look them as FOX. They look at them as false, FALSE. But yes, that is just, what they have been, they have been known for. They won themselves that notoriety over time. They've been part of several, a series of infamy that were carried out in this country to destroy democracy. And I continue to look at the Australian connection, whether you are looking at Julian Assange or you are looking at Rupert Murdoch, the owner of Fox, Fox Media. Mm-hmm. I do not know. I question the agenda of us. And Australia is supposed to be a key ally of the United States. But what these individual citizens do to undermine democracy in the United States, it's just incredible, not plausible. So what I know is that what I would always find is level. Like we often say in Africa, water would naturally find its level. Hurricane this, hurricane that. People, roads and public infrastructure destroyed because of the stakes that could not be higher in this election, people will find a way around all these orders and make sure that they deliver their votes in huge numbers in a way that will shock the living day out of Donald Trump. Of course, you see the way he's been going everywhere lately, trying to politicize the real tragedy that we are going through as a nation in America. More than 100 deaths have been recorded because of this hurricane. You know, that is a heavy toll on the country. Look at the cost to public infrastructure and all that. And, you know, the details would have to be worked out for President and Vice President, President Joe Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris to find their way to the epicenter of the crisis, the natural occurrence. But now he will go to some places and be throwing paper towels, be throwing toiletries, and behave as if he's making real intervention. When it comes to empathy and connecting with what we are going through as citizens in this country, I think Kamala Harris does a better job. And for anybody to want to try and create optics, oh, the administration is ineffective, Federal Emergency Agency is not quick enough, Homeland Security people are not there. That is not true. And this is not about election. If they don't have to be there yet, they won't be there yet, but you can be sure they will be there. And Donald Trump is just going to get his place, his confines through this election. Another thing that I've been studying lately is the history of demarketing people and trying to minimize the importance of a fellow human being attacking their worth in terms of the dignity of the human person. Something that Donald Trump has been doing. You see the way students, pupils have been going through so much trauma, fear of making, marking their presence through the school register every day because of the fear that Donald Trump has stoked. All these things would be on the ballot indirectly, so that whether somebody visits the border states of New Mexico, Nevada, where have you, or Arizona, that would impact a little, but the real thing will come from the heart of the people as to the content of character of the people on this ballot, who speaks for us, who represents our values, and then through who will be in this office, so much so that the world can enjoy less tension and go for real transformative moments and development. So my job as a journalist and objective analyst is to look at all these things and tell you without missing words that I think Kamala Harris has character, has better character than the other man. Period. And I think this is what the aggregate. Yeah, I think.
Who's the other man?
Donald Trump, of course. The name is not really too. It's shocking on the throat, and I just really like to just spit it out quickly and move on to the substance.
We also have Joe Biden, President Joe Biden. So I just wanted to make sure that you're talking about the right person. That's all.
Yeah, he's the man that is the other man.
Is the other man.
The way they demarcate people. I look at it through the lens of the events that started in 1933 Germany and what Jewish people went through, whether in Poland, Yugoslavia, everywhere, until they find that the world was able to respond. The incredible situation, first the marketing, calling people leech, vermins, and what have you. The way it's been denigrating us as immigrants in this country is one forebears, his ancestors in this country were like us. They were immigrants. If people decided to treat them the way Donald Trump is trying to treat all of us immigrants, you think it's just about HNs now? No, that is just a way of that is just an archetype for the rest of us. I don't know why anybody want to hate a fellow human being this much. So you say you are a Christian, you represent right-wing Christian values. Right-wing Christian values my foot, because this you guys tell us, oh, God created all of us. So you said in His own image. How dare you think you are much more like God than I am? We all are created in His image. How can we share some love for each other instead of spreading hate? The last time the world witnessed something, look at the Hutu Tutsi killings in Burundi and Rwanda. The last time the world looked at things like this, more than 6 million people were killed in the Holocaust that was started by the Third Reich, something that has become an attraction for Donald Trump. Even you look at his rallies, he speaks and speaks and speaks endlessly. That is a motivation from the late Adolf Hitler. I don't find any attraction, and honestly, I do not find it funny. But you know what? Even people, people that are negative, that are evil, they have devotees.
Yeah.
Demagogues would always find something through which people can connect to their warped and twisted statements. And that is what Donald Trump is enjoying. But I'm trusting infinitely and supremely. I have confidence in the ability of American people to take back their true freedom, to take back their end victory through this electoral cycle, this electoral process.
All right, thank you. Now we're getting ready to get into the real story of the day. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, and follow. Thank you so much for that analysis. Please, what do you think? What do you think is about to happen in the next few weeks? Donald Trump
and our folks should be reminded.
Yeah,
we should not live like we are subservient to anybody in this country. We are American citizens, and we must put that on the parade. We must be part of the main thing that is going on. We must speak, and our voice and our votes must be heard. Thank you.
All right, good. So the question I have for you, the audience, you can engage the conversation in the chat, in the comment area, is the question I have for you is that how much difference do you think is going to reflect on the actual outcome? Because there's a clear difference between the base that Donald Trump speaks to and the actual voters. Let's not get it twisted. There's a massive division. This is showing up that it's going to be a tight race. That's what it's predicting. But how far from that do you think reality is going to be? We'd like to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, and turn up your notifications. We'll be right back. All right, so the video you're looking at is a video of a very dark man arriving today at the House of Reps to come and answer to the invitation that was extended to him and another person called Bobrisky.
Yes, we continue to refer to this guy as Dark Man. Could you please tell the world his real name?
I'm going to do that right now. Yes, right. So the video you're looking at is not Dark Man, but Very Dark Man. So who is Very Dark Man? Let me cover a quick before we continue. As you can see, the title says Very Dark Man for President? ? Let's analyze. Who is Very Dark Man? Very Dark Man, his real name is Martins Vincent Ose. He's a 30-year-old man. He's a Nigerian activist. He also has disclaimed the title activist. He doesn't want to be referred to as an activist. He's a critic. He's a social media influencer. And
he's a blogger.
It's a influencer, more like social media influencer.
Yeah, well, I see him as a video blogger.
Video blogger, okay, video blogger, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
So
he's a kind of journalist.
yeah, so he's gotten very, very popular in the last 2 years or so. He's gotten mainstream attention because of his heavy language critique. He's very hands-on with regards to what he calls the common man. He's fighting for the common man, the oppressed. He's ready to put everything on the line for against the oppressors, essentially. So in the last few days, he released an audio tape. That's
Video.
A video. No, it's audio. Well, I
Audio,
heard
yes, the audio, yes, the telephone conversation.
yeah, audio that allegedly features another person by the name of Okuneye Idris Olanrewaju, popularly known as Bobrisky, who is a Nigerian social media personality as well. She is a transgender woman. She's being referred to by the authorities still as a he. However, today they acknowledge that he or she has female features, which was the reason why they felt like they couldn't put him in the same place. So we're going to talk about that. So I want to leave the rest to you. What happened as far as what you've seen so far, and what can we say today? And then the next question outside of what happened is that, is VeryDarkMan our next president? Is he a competent? Can he become the next president of Nigeria already?
Okay, let's start from the most improbable.
Yes.
VeryDarkMan is not going to be Nigeria's president, essentially because he's just 30 years old. He's not yet of that age to aspire to that office constitutionally. That should settle that issue first. But
sorry, is that the only reason why he can't be a president?
It's an essential reason.
Is that the only reason?
There could be others. The fact that somebody is a new media influencer, the fact that somebody is a video blogger or journalist, that does not really mean that. You see, we don't let things get into our head. The fact that we do exclusive stories that are so deep, and as a journalist, I know what that can mean for that moment when you hit that. When the newspaper is giving you that front page
attention,
that lead story, your byline is appearing there that this was reported or authored by you. Yes, for that moment, you can get head swollen or get swollen headed. The truth of the matter is that there is more to becoming an elected officer than a minute headliner. Than
sorry, for the record, he doesn't care about that. We're just saying a lot of people would like that. That's why I'm asking.
Yes, but you also know how people can drive each other to the next thing and make people think of the improbable or the unthinkable. If he wants to go for it, let it be his choice. But to begin to now clamor that, he is the next kid on the block. Remember, with everything that Omoyele Sowore has done, becoming a disruptor within the media industry, becoming somebody that dedicated a whole, what's it called? A whole project to going after the money, corruption, and fraud. How has the country rewarded him? Even well-celebrated journalists in the past, like Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, was ever elected the president of Nigeria. He only became president of Nigeria by way of ceremonial arrangement. He was just the titular head of Nigeria, representing the Queen, and as Governor General at the time, and later as president of Nigeria that had embraced becoming a republic in 1963. So Awolowo was one of the best journalists of his time, and even till now, beyond his reports or reportage, you pick any book authored by Obafemi Awolowo, you are going to see deep intellectualism there. So for somebody to have just released series of scoops and sensational investigative pieces to be the major prerequisite for becoming the president of Nigeria, come on. Don't let us go for the ridiculous.
It's too much. It's too ridiculous.
Yes,
Okay.
there is. Yeah. Now, number two,
Yeah.
they are now saying from the.
Can you please give us a recap of what happened before we get into it?
What happened, according to what we have been following, is that Bobrisky allegedly borrowed 4 million naira from an individual whom we do not know yet. And then when it was time for him to pay back, he started reeling out on the phone. And we don't know if he was cautioned that he was being recorded or not. And we do not know, because in America, if you're going to play this kind of game, you better let the person
you better disclose.
Yes, you have to give full disclosure that you are being recorded and for this purpose and what have you. You cannot just begin to record somebody just like that without approval, since you are not subject of a sting operation that has been sanctioned through a due process of the law. So as a private citizen, and this was recorded off, and it became a matter of, these are a series of things I've done. I gave 15, I mean, he said he had to arrange 15 million naira to EFCC operatives in order for the original allegation of money laundering to be dropped. And that was now, that dovetailed to the charge of just spraying money at parties. Remember, we discussed that on this platform, that spraying money at public functions in Nigeria, appreciating praise singers, musicians, and artists generally, is a cultural thing, is a thing of tradition in Nigeria. When that now became matter for prosecution and what have you, it's what I would not be able to connect with properly. Yeah, that is really still making some games on my thinking, my thinking abilities and faculty. That is number one. Number two, he alleged that, in that conversation that was leaked to us, allegedly coming from conversation of Idris Bobrisky with a so-called creditor. He alleged that he got in touch with Fawuz. Fawuz Falano, the lawyer, singer, the rapper, the son of Barrister Femi Falano, senior advocate of Nigeria, and that trying to maybe get some money through him too. But Femi, through that, we had this conversation that, maybe Femi Falano allegedly too said, they could organize or arrange a presidential pardon or some kind of pardon, state pardon.
Yes.
So that the record would not count. What is called justification in spiritual realm in Christianity, that crime will be taken off completely as if it never happened. Atonement and for complete forgiveness, expunged, pardon from the records. That Barrister Femi Falano allegedly was going to get 10 million naira to get that sorted out. And the chamber and Fawuz, all of them had reacted and threatening retraction, or that the matter will go to court. But the way of Nigerians, you never know what. Finally, is the angle where Ali Runababa did not mention him by name, but he said in that conversation, Comptroller General
is he the Comptroller General of Nigeria?
Comptroller General of Nigeria Correctional Service, and there is no other person before that, and now the only person that's been in that office in the last year or so has been Ali Runababa, and we have done series of reports on Ali Runababa and the shenanigans within that service. And remember, when this broke, the allegation is that certain amount of money was paid to Nababa by way of bribe. They don't want to call it that name. They don't want to elevate it. They don't want to glamorize what they did. But the truth of the matter is that we should move from innuendo and all kinds of pretenses about this. He alleged that certain amount of money was paid to the Controller General of Nigeria Correctional Service.
To live in an apartment, as opposed to be.
Yes, and allegedly broke out by his or her godfather.
Yes, right, correct.
And that the godfather had assured him that he shouldn't panic. He would not
sleep a day,
spend a night in correctional facility. So from what Idris said, something still do not add up from the testimony. Idris allegedly was absent from the hearing today at in the House of Representatives because of being medically indisposed. That's what we were told. We do not know.
Well, Idris, aka Bobrisky, has also denied and said it was AI generated version of himself.
But from what we are hearing now, the corroborations and deniers and the what have you, it does not look like AI generated. Well, it can be pushing for the plausible deniability of, it's AI. Anybody can hide under anything now in Nigeria or anywhere, especially for a country that does not have this culture of owning up to things easily. As it's often said in a Yoruba language, a secular banseron, an elder would always maintain a straight face and go for that denial.
And denial.
Yes, that is a proverb. And Yorubas have a way of generating more than 1,500 proverbs around the same phenomenon. Yes, when it suits them, they bring out one. When it does not suit them, another one will just surface. A secular Banseron, for him to be saying this, but from what we find out now, corroborations are coming that it looks to me, as an experienced investigative journalist, that I can safely conclude that conversation actually took place.
Okay.
Don't forget that VeryDarkMan had also said there will be a part 2 to the leak.
That was 2 days ago. We haven't seen the part 2 though.
We are eagerly awaiting that. Nobody should kill anything at this point. We need to hear the full story, because in Nigeria now, my concern is last week I placed a call to the Umar Abubakar, the spokesperson of Nigeria Correctional Service, on the reaction of Ali Runababa to the weighty allegation, and then why is Ali Runababa still in office? He could remove himself, go on all vacation, administrative leave, something, so that he does not impede what has been outed already, the investigation going on. And from what I heard, Jafaru, the secretary of the Nigeria Correctional Service board, was the one that first instituted a probe. Now, Bosun, not Bosun, Bumi Tunji-Ojo, the Minister of Interior, has come out to say that the investigation is on. But this will not be far-reaching enough until they stop.
Sorry to interject. Did he also say that the Controller General was suspended?
He never said that. Okay. But in the message that I left for him on his on his WhatsApp handle, the minister, I said, why is this man still in office while the activities of his alleged intransigence is being investigated? No answer yet. And I can understand the fact that Nigeria Correctional Service, the our public relations officer cannot say anything now since the parent company, the parent ministry has decided to take over investigations.
Mm-hmm.
So you find at all levels that particularly my focus is on how terms and conditions of spending time in Nigerian correctional centers is often a subject of trading, of bargaining. Yes,
Right.
of bargaining.
We're not going to pretend that
in,
that's not the case.
in that same country, somebody was said to be in prison. The wife visited with him, whatever accommodation arrangement they had. The wife got pregnant while the man was there. So how did the man? So we find out that has often been alleged that some of these prisoners, especially the very important prisoners there, or personalities, whichever way the acronym will go. We find out that sometimes they are arranged to sneak out of that place to go home and do all kinds. Only the poor really go through the process in Nigerian correctional centers. Remember all the things that we have said. It is this Ali Runababa that was mentioned in the investment stuff on the building of the hotel facility on Airport Road belonging to the Nigerian Correctional Service individuals. Money coming, that were shared off their salaries in terms of staff welfare. That 5-star hotel is there. It's generating money every day. You do not see the reflection on, the reflection of the profitability of that venture on the welfare of the staff of Nigeria Correctional Service. You don't. Jafaru and Ali Runababa are the ones helping themselves. And from what we have even discovered through our network of investigative reporters, that the minister himself may be benefiting. We do not know. We do not want to slander anybody, but these people need to speak up on the quality of public service they render in that country. Beyond that, when they have this 5-star hotel arrangement there belonging to Nigerian Correctional Service, when some staff members of NCS the other day got displaced from their accommodation where they bought some land. When Wike that is being applauded as one of the ministers that should stay on in this government. I disagree completely. Other than the fact that Wike is being used to destabilize and heat the polity up because of the agenda of APC to turn Nigeria to a one-party state, I do not see the relevance of this guy. Nigerians are dying in millions because of hunger, because of flood and what have you. Wike is the one that arrogantly, stubbornly decided to build a 21 billion naira house for Nigeria's vice president. 21 billion naira. You know how many people that would take out of poverty? It was needless. There was no conservation in his agenda when he was thinking of destroying Akinla Aguda house. That house should have been preserved, opened in a way for public viewing to generate a tourism. I should leave that. I should not be suggesting ideas to them on how to run their questionable shows in Nigeria. Anyway, but these people don't put on any thinking hard. And I was being told Wike is going to stay in office. When Wike brought the bulldozers to facilities being occupied by staff members of Nigerian Correctional Service, Ali Runababa did not do anything. You see the nonsense going on around the ration and gas, and they continue to sponsor people. Like the other day, the public relations officer, Umar Abubakar, was talking somewhere and they was suggesting that the crisis going on with the feeding of inmates has to do with the number of people awaiting execution. You see the warp logic? So people are waiting execution. How do you feed them? How well do they feed? Are they the reasons why you people enjoy a budgetary allocation of over 10 billion naira every month for the feeding of inmates, and then you feed them with less than 100 million all over Nigeria? So I have to pivot us back to the story, right? Yes.
Now,
I'm just trying to point out all the bodies, the issues
right?
that have piled because of this Ali Runababa of a man. I don't have anything against him personally. I just want a more efficient Nigerian system. Simple.
Right. So all of this, like you said, is still at this point is still an accusation. It's an allegation on an audio that we still don't know what the source is.
But don't forget, VeryDarkMan assured the National Assembly, the lower chamber of the National Assembly today, the House of Representatives. Right. He assured the committee that the tape is authentic.
Well, he assured them that VeryDarkMan is very good at assuring stuff, So I will take that in, but I'm also.
But let me also ask you, Ola.
No, let me.
You said please wait. You said is very good at assuring.
Yes.
Assurances, assuring is a common phenomenon. Even Buhari, who did nothing, would always assure. And all these people. But what I'm telling you is that has there been any situation in the past where VeryDarkMan assured and it was found to be?
No, he's very consistent, including when he's very consistent. One of the things that he's very good at assuring is that he will drag anybody, disrespect anybody in the course of protecting the common man. And he's going to hold the whole country down if that's what it takes, including himself.
Yeah, because he is so sure of his facts, right?
Not necessarily, because we started this by he's been backpedaling. He's just also very terrible at tendering proper apology. But he's been backpedaling with some of this.
He's walking the story back already.
Yeah, he's been.
For example, the one he said.
But let's be clear. To be clear, right? People like VeryDarkMan, you are absolutely correct. When it comes to the facts,
let me afford you a glimpse of where I think is walking back a little. Okay. When he said, "Foul," what's the name? Is it foul? Huh?
You talking about fouls?
Yeah, fouls. Folarin, Femi Falana. Where he said, "Oh, he too arranging a pardon for this guy," almost now lowering his guard and throwing caution to the wind, saying, "Oh, he's Folarin, Femi Falana too into homosexuality and all that."
Is he doing too?
Yeah, is he doing too?
So he's very. When it comes to
that went too far. The Falana is the lawyer. Are you saying he doesn't have that obligation to represent somebody? To represent a client because of sexual orientation? That is not the way society works.
That has been a major suggestion by quite a few opinions on the internet.
That would be stupid, if not outrightly ludicrous. And
there's a sentiment out there. Ridiculous. There's a sentiment out there that the SAN Falana should not have associated himself.
Why would they not? The person we're talking of is a human being in the first place. Before you begin to look at the sexual orientation, is a human being, a fellow human being. Simple.
Anyway, so I'm trying to, the thing is, I'm also backpedaling myself. I'm going to be very honest with you.
Did you go there before?
No, where I was going was the opposite direction.
How?
Where? Which is this young man, he has a platform, VeryDarkMan. He has a platform that's huge, and he's accountable. He can't just run his mouth. He can't run his mouth past the fact that he has. Right?
I agree. I completely agree with you. Which is the major moral and legal compass for us at SharpEdgeNews.com and SharpEdgeNewsTV.
So he has a tendency, right, to manipulate the masses using the have and the have-not rhetoric, the oppressor versus the oppressees rhetoric. It's a very easy way to manipulate Nigerians. All you have to say
it's evil to want to manipulate people like that.
So it is a real issue we have real issues to deal with, which is why I'm backpedaling.
Yes, we can use the media, the authentic media, as a veritable tool for social re-engineering, ensuring an egalitarian society, equality of everybody before the law, and promote the rule of law. Other than that, let no one try to be manipulative.
Thank you. And that has been my major angle. But quite a few people have come and said, are we supposed to be talking about defamation where there are real issues going on in the country? So that's the question I'm posing to you right now. Are we
defamation is also part of the real issues facing the country, because you cannot paint people or paint people as what they are not. You cannot also destroy people's hard-earned, hard-built reputation anyhow. You understand this? If you are not sure of your facts, please refrain. It is not. It's not something you must do at all costs. The media space is not where you come and play to the gallery. There could be consequences. Like, I mean, the other day we were talking about Anolori sending Aya killers after me. People were asking me, well, are you sure of this and that? I said, just wait until events start playing out. And before their very eyes, they have seen the proof. I mean, somebody swearing as if she owns Nigeria, or if he comes to Nigeria, we will put him in prison. The president of Nigeria cannot even threaten a Nigerian citizen that way. If that citizen is operating based on facts, you cannot abuse your office. Are they listening to President Joe Biden? Did they listen to him at the United Nations Assembly the other day? Some things are good. People would love to stay power. I mean, to stay in power. They even want to manipulate all sorts. But can they please give a chance to the people? Understand that the people will be the boss. And when you're talking on the side of the people, don't manipulate anything. Present the facts before the people and let them make their deductions. Let them draw their conclusions. It's not for you to be the advocate, the prosecutor, the solicitor, and then the judge.
Right.
In the same matter. No.
Right. So that was my own point. So now that they've said that, I wanted to hear people out. It became a matter of defamation versus corruption. And I'm like, wait, at least one is under the other at the very minimum.
the lead one, if we must go for the hierarchy of all this stuff involved, these issues and values. Corruption.
So I applaud his work. I applaud his work of being a whistleblower, if that's what he wants to be.
That's right.
That's okay. It's part of a bigger system of accountability system. It cannot be by itself. You can't have people capitalizing on whistleblowing and then
you need to be sure. You need to be sure of your facts. For example, the people threatening me that if I come to Nigeria I will be killed. The governor of Ondo State will send me to prison. I said, for what? They said because I said Governor Yedatiwa broke his oath of office by not upholding the standard in the Ayede Ogbese chieftaincy matter. I said yes. The chieftaincy declaration in Ayede Ogbese says no single kingmaker can install a king or a regent. You people went shopping in the law court for a judge to rule funny.
I will cut corner.
It was said that Lisa can do it alone. That is a breach of oath of office there. And the governor went there to associate publicly and then receiving donations from the Olori. Who doesn't know that is a bribe? That is a bribe. But you know, Ayedatiwa is my man. I want him to do better. I want the very best for him. You saw what I did when he was being messed with. But all these things that he's now doing to compromise himself and destroy his credibility, is a man that is very loved. So if they really want to challenge what I've said, I may not also want to pursue the matter. You said?
For you. So the audio, there was a mention of a possible godfather in the audio.
That is the one that we're interested in knowing.
So there's a.
Why do I even want to know his godfather? The only reason I want to know his godfather is this the way this so-called? If they want to be doing their godfather at their level of whatever they are doing, good for them.
So there's a speculation that the godfather was mentioned alongside the name of Falana with the 10 million naira. Do you think
no.
was all part of a bigger way to distract people from fighting the actual corruption going on in the system? Can you corroborate that?
No. Nobody mixed the godfather with Femi Falana there.
That's why I'm asking the question. People are mixing it.
No, they shouldn't. I mean, that fallacy.
That he should go to court if he feels like he was defamed against and stop distracting us.
Yeah.
The main issue is the godfather. That's what.
Yes. That godfather. Why I'm interested in knowing the godfather is how can one individual be so powerful, so influential as to want to bend the Nigerian system in a whimsical and capricious way to suit the purposes of just one group or an individual. That is the only reason why I want to know this so-called godfather. And when the godfather is unmasked, when he's exposed, I want him also to face trial. Because what he has done behind the scene is the worst form of corruption, influence peddling. Yes, everybody focuses on money stealing, money fraud in Nigeria. The worst type that I've always said is influence peddling, nepotism, and what have you.
Nepotism. Because my own thing about this corruption of a thing is that it's a systemic thing, and as long as Nigerians continue to point fingers at persons, as opposed to building a system that will prevent corruption across the board. Because in my opinion, a senior house girl is practicing the same nepotism against the junior house girl. A senior gate man is doing the same thing, and all of them are praying for them to also ascend through the ladders so that they can do more of it.
And it does not work like that. Honestly, I've seen a system that is near perfect, because Nigerians or Africans or most people there, when they want to justify the shenanigans going on within the system in our land of origin, they'll say things go on in America. I'm not saying there are no weaknesses in America. At least we have seen the nepotism of the Donald Trump's family.
Right.
We have seen that. I mean, that corruption is there. It's proven.
But we also know that there's a system there that won't let him go past one time at a time.
This is the thing. It's near perfect.
Yeah.
It is not completely perfect. And when you give me these two options, I would say, can Nigerians learn more from the people who said they were teaching us stuff? Just that they shouldn't teach us nonsense like Fela and Anikulapo Kuti would sing.
Now, here's my last question for the day.
Right.
Was it Aliru Nababa that was talking today at the House of Rep who said Bobrisky has female features?
No, that was not him. It's the guy, some guy from Lagos.
Was it the one that said he received social media suspension and not real suspension? That was Aliru, right? I think that was him.
No, Aliru Nababa has not been suspended. It must be the guy from Lagos.
Suspended, and that person said, "Well, sorry, it's social media suspension."
That is the guy from Lagos. You see, all the drama going on, all these things will come up. They told us the guy has been placed on suspension. Now he has come out to say that the drama is unfolding. You won't get to the end of it. Then this story of him having, because remember when the judge asked Bobrisky in court, he said he was a man, but under oath. He said he was a man. That was what he said.
So that was
during his trial.
But then when they found out that it could be this fissure that had been induced maybe through some what's it called? What do you call it? This hormone changing stuff. He has breast now.
Yeah, but why would you not have breast? If you take it, but that is not. I'm not homophobic. I don't want to go into that. I don't want to go into that realm. Anybody can be anything he or she wants. It's almost as bad as when Kamala Harris is a black woman. She's one of us black woman, and then I mean, she's a black woman. Rather, I'm not a black woman. But somebody saying
there's a real question there. There's a real question there. The real question is that somebody who has breast put in the middle of a bunch of male criminals in the prison place, right? Where they also have tendencies around the world, not just Nigeria, to also potentially they can hurt each other or potentially do the worst, which is sexual assault.
That's right.
Men. Do they have a real reason, in your opinion, to provide a special accommodation for him in the prison system? Do they have a real reason?
Within the context of the system, it has to be in that system. They are isolated cells there. I mean, if you have visited them through prison ministry, you find out that prison cells are personalized. They are individualized. So it's not as if they just throw them into some big hall like you have in police detention cells in Nigeria. No. So I mean, they are
you're suggesting like a confined solitary where he will be by himself.
Yes, and then given proper monitoring. After all, why do we have correctional officers? So these things they are pushing is just a way of justifying what may be wrong. But we follow the facts. That is what I would say at this point. We follow the facts. Things are happening within the correctional system that will shock you. For example, this newfound idea of campaigning for the signing of the death penalty. You even find the media wing of the APC calling for executions. Who told you that what appears on the surface to be so? That somebody you think may be guilty and fit for execution may indeed be guilty. Is it that you are not recognizing the weaknesses within the Nigerian system or the criminal justice system all over the world? Even in America, it is an ongoing debate.
Okay.
Personally, I don't see any reason why anybody should want to be eager to take lives. So you find all kinds of funny arguments within the Nigerian system. But I'm telling you, the system is corrupt through and through.
I mean, we all know that. And, here's one last thing I have to say about the whole corruption.
Let me give you an insight. I was bidding for a project worth maybe a couple of millions in that service through my whatever at the time. Up front, they wanted me to go and bring 20% of the contract sum before I could be given award letter. And you know the standard of my younger brother who happens to be a director of Ruben and Associates too, Dr. Ayodeji Rex Abitogun. I mean, he just outrightly advised against it. And that is why I've never done or through any project or anybody done any project with Nigeria Correctional Service. Because they always want you to pay something and some before you get that contract paper. Tell me which system runs like that.
I see. All right, let's do this. Here's about the corruption thing, right? I had a small thing here, but let me just say it, and then I'm gonna play a video, and then we'll call it a day. It's been a fantastic conversation. Now, this guy asked a question. He was doubling down yesterday before he finally apologized. He gave a fake apology to Femi Falana at the House of Rep today, but he has not, last time I checked, he has not apologized to Fowles for painting his name in the same sentence as potentially being an homosexual and understanding the ramification of such accusations in that society. In my opinion, I understand why they are filing a defamation lawsuit against him. Now, in that video where he was doubling down, he actually became very red. He's not a white person, but he became very red. And he was saying, what has he done? He was talking about the father. He was sending messages back to Folake and Folarin Falana's father. Saying, what has he done? Compared to what he has done, So that's just, again,
that will totally be absurd. I mean, Femi Falana has done so much for the evolution of the Nigerian jurisprudence, Nigerian law system. Let nobody, because of this moment, try to rubbish the man's genuine achievement.
So he's able to get away with that because he's fighting against corruption, which is a pain point for all Nigerians around the world, acknowledged, right? But here's the thing: corruption doesn't just happen out of nowhere. It's like a symptom of a bigger problem in the system. When people think it's okay to just ignore things like defamation or someone's rights being violated, it actually makes it easier for corruption to even grow, right?
Yeah,
so
it cannot be better said, Ola.
So if we want to fix corruption, we have to care about all parts of the system.
That's right.
How we treat each other, making
because
sure that
even that defamation itself is a form of corruption.
Exactly. Making sure that people's rights are protected and that no one can just spread lies without consequences.
Right.
It can help build trust in the system, because trust, corruption, right? They go hand in hand, right? So when we allow one type of bad behavior, like defamation, it might send a message that it's okay to break other rules too.
Yes, that people can be violated with impunity and they go scot-free. And it doesn't just happen like that.
Right. So that's why I'm asking the question. It is rhetorical, but it's just to give us thought and to give someone like VeryDarkMan.
Yeah, I completely agree.
And the many other very dark mans that want to also hold the system accountable, they need to understand that comes with accountability.
See, in the VeryDarkMan shouting to the world to hear, what has he done? What has Femi Falana done that VeryDarkMan has not done? And all that.
Right.
You know, people just want to have their 15 seconds of fame or shame at times. But the truth of the matter is that if he's trying to compare between himself and the genuine achievements of Femi Falana, honestly, people would also ask the question, is it possible that VeryDarkMan is being used by certain forces to get at Femi Falana for all the impressive and very commendable strong fights against corruption, against oppression, against inequalities within the system over the years? And could this be the way to get at him for his principled defense of people that have been put on trial?
It's a valid question.
Yeah, that could there be anybody within the system trying to get at Femi Falana for defending the end bad governance and protest? We never would know. But let us continue to follow the facts, so that we do not also commit the same fallacy of judgment and conclusion or generalization.
I guess the victims of the so-called defamation are also part of the elite, right? The human rights advocate himself and the children who are also lawyers. So I understand why it can feel easy to say, let them handle it in court, like be dismissive about the violation against them because they have power and influence too, right?
Yeah, but you see the other side of the flip, and this is that when Femi Falana swings against this man, if indeed this qualifies for defamation, if he swings against him, and the wrath of law, the long arm of the law comes, and justice is delivered, people will now be saying, "Oh, why did he have to do that?" You know, Nigeria is almost like it's almost like the probably, I mean, the trickster tale of the tortoise and the in-law. Yes, on the way to the market, tortoise wrongly of the in-law that has been accused of stealing is tied down, being punished, insulted by everybody. What a shame! Still, you stole from your in-law. And then on the way back, this towards evening, coming back from the market, this man is still there. Everybody turns against the tortoise. Say, this is too much. What kind of... You see, everybody that is applauding this guy now, standing tough,
Very dark man.
When when Femi Falana comes after him, eventually they say, "Oh, this is just too much."
They say it's too much. They will have empathy. They start sympathizing with him. For the same reason.
This is the wrong way Nigerians allow the pendulum to swing.
To extremes.
To swing. I've been there. I have been there.
See?
You want to go for your right.
For the past 2 days, that's what I've been trying to point out. I haven't been exactly as clean as I could be, but I've been trying to point out, like, I get it. He's fighting for the come up. I get it. But you got to do it right.
That's right.
You have to do it right, you know?
That is right.
Yeah.
If only people will come out clean in this investigation and nobody tries to play games with this statement, with the process and with the hearings, I think this will take Nigerians somewhere. But like every other thing Nigerian, would we get the actual truth?
It's sorry to cut you out. He's a 30-year-old man. He has a long way to go. He can be a very useful instrument to fix Nigeria as we move into the future.
Yes, but very dark man for president, certainly not now. So maybe somewhere in the future. Not in the immediate future.
All right. So since we're at the end of the show, let me just say that it was not a joke. The question was a joke. He has a long way to go if that's ever going to be a possibility. But I want to play this. Do you have any last word before I play this last video, and then we'll call it a day?
No, let us continue to commit to a better world situation, whether in Nigeria or America. There is a lot that should create excitement in us about the world in which we live than what people often try to use to get us all off track and off target. Eyes must be on the prize. Our eyes must be on the prize.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, let's have a little comic relief before we leave. Then we'll end with this.
Emila. Osi Oluwawo. VDM mo dologbo dugbe ese lónìí golo ló máa bọ̀. Iṣẹ́. Ìkọ́ ẹ̀kọ́ mi.
Go ahead.
Glove yìí fẹ́ mọ yún mi lọ́wọ́ bákan. Glove ṣe kí ni? Ó fẹ́ mọ ṣe bí ẹyin yún mi lọ́wọ́. Dandan ni kò yàn lọ́wọ́ yèrè pé ń bẹnu èròjà rẹ̀. Mo fà àná tí ọwọ́ mi yìí láńtídóòtì rẹ̀. Ó yá tẹ́wọ́ rẹ̀. Ọwọ́ mi rè Olúwawo. Ojú Ọbàtálá mọ́ta mọ́. Ó yá gbéra sọ mo ti sọ ọ́ jiná. Tọ́nà ó lè le lórúkọ tá à ń pè wọ́n. Mo fọ́ ní so ń bẹ̀. Ó ti yá. Wọn ò bí èèyàn. Mo gbọ́ mi VeryDarkMan. Mo ń gbọ́. Èyí lè sìn ọ́ kọjá bí. Oyè mi. VeryDarkMan. À ń gbọ́. Orúkọ mi ni VeryDarkMan. Èmi sì ni mo kó Bobrisky wọ gàwá àti rògbòdìyàn tá à ń fà lọ́wọ́ yìí. Pẹ̀lú wákàtí ìtorí wípé kíni ẹni tí mo fẹ̀sùn kàn gangan ò sí ń bì bẹ́ẹ̀ ni lọ́ọ̀yà rẹ̀ náà sì sí ń bì. Fún di èyí ẹ̀bá àtàkìtìkẹ́ forí sọ lẹ́yìn ní sọ kóńbì lónìí. Ẹni tí mo fẹ̀sùn kàn tó yẹ kémi àti ẹjọ́ wà lórí ìdúró òsì ń bí torí náà rest my case. Àwọn àgbàlagbà ló ń bá sọ̀rọ̀ báyìí. Ẹ wo ẹ̀yin àgbàlagbà ẹ jẹ̀bù rẹ̀ tí ò bá nídìí ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ kì í ṣẹ́ tí ò bá sì nídìí ọmọbìnrin yìí jẹ́ kúmólú. Ní tí VDM ń sọ èmi láyà VDM èmi mo sì wà lórí ìjókòó pẹ̀lú rẹ̀ nígbà tẹ́ni wípé ká yọjú ṣùgbọ́n táwa rí Bobrisky àti lọ́ọ̀yà rẹ̀ gbogbo ẹ́fídẹ́ǹsì ta kó wá pátápátá porongodo rẹ̀ kò sí ìtàtù mbẹ́. Kì í sọ̀rọ̀ stubborn defendant rẹ̀ pé. Ẹ pé wọ́dà. Ẹ máa gbọ́ mi ọ̀gá wọ́dà. Mo ń gbà yí olúwa mi. ń gbọ́ kí gangan ló ṣẹlẹ̀ dákun ẹ̀ wí tẹnu yín ká gbọ́. Àwòrán tí ń bẹ ní ọwọ́ mi yìí ni àwòrán arákùnrinbìnrin Òkúnnẹ́yẹ Ọlánrewájú aka Bobrisky ní ọjọ́ 9 oṣù mo ti gbàgbé. So àfẹ́mọ́ sí ẹ̀wọ̀n ká ní pé wọn àwọn ọkùnrin la fi sí ni ọlọ́gbọ́n wọn ti fàdí ẹ̀yà ìgbọ́dọ̀ pọlọ́run ní jẹ́rìí asán. In fact n táwọn ìkọlà bàbá sọ ìjọba àkọ́kọ́ mú Bobrisky dẹ̀wọ̀n ọkùnrin àwọn kan tí ń lérí pé kò gbọ́dọ̀ bẹ̀rẹ̀ mọ́sẹ̀ nínú bathroom kìí ṣe nkéré gbogbo òmùsù rẹ̀ wọn ò bá ti fọ́ yankanyankan. So lọ́rọ̀ kan apàtímẹ́ǹtì lẹ́ fi tracy nígbà táwọn èèyàn rògbò yá ń sáàfù táàmù rẹ̀. Olúwa mi kì í ṣe pé kò sáàfù táàmù rẹ̀ Bobrisky sáàfù táàmù rẹ̀ ẹnu rẹ̀ kàn bó ní. kí wọ́n ti AI. ní nǹkan pàtó tí mo fẹ́ sọ ń pa AI because mo wà technologically challenged. Ẹ pé VDM wa. Ẹ ṣe ẹ̀yìn house of rep lẹ́yìn gbogbo àtótónu ọ̀gá wọ́dà mo ń bọ̀ mo fẹ́ ṣí péjì kan ni o. mo sì lọ́ntì ẹ̀. ní ìsìmọ̀nà gbogbo evidence ló wà níbí. kí n tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní ka gbogbo péjì yìí lẹ́yọ̀ kọ̀ọ̀kan ẹ béèrè lọ́wọ́ ọ̀gá wọ́dà pé ṣé wọ́n suspend wọn. ṣé sáìdì bíi 15 million yẹn ni. ǹgbà ọ̀gá wọ́dà ǹjẹ́ wọ́n suspend yín àbí wọn ò suspend yín ṣé wọ́n dá yín dúró lẹ́nu iṣẹ́. níwájú Ọlọ́run àtẹ̀yìn mi náà rí social media ṣùgbọ́n social media sojú ayé torí tí wọ́n bá suspend mi ó yẹ kí wọ́n ti fẹ́ lòmíì ṣe mí tí wọn bá fẹ́ lomi replace mi immediately ó léwu gidi àwọn náà sì mọ̀. ó sojú gbogbo wa lórí social media nígbà tí minister of interior sọ pé àwọn ti dá yín dúró àtàwọn nǹkan sóò ẹ kúrò lórí ẹ. ẹ kúrò lórí ọ̀gá wọlé àṣẹ kò sí nǹkan tẹ́ fẹ́ sọ mí. kí ni mo. nǹkan tá a wí nìyẹn gbogbo nǹkan tó bá gbà pàtà láàfin kò sí ní ẹ máa tún ẹjọ́ ìdá.
All right, that was on Instagram. His name is Lekon_King Kong. He has a series of videos like that on there. So I want to say thank you, everybody. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications. Hopefully, you've been enlightened, educated. We'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.